If you're watching this channel, it's because you don't enjoy watching the world squander what Christendom built, but you want to do your part. And chances are you've heard me mention a great means by doing just that. Email made by and for Catholics. Check out fidei.email. That's FIDEI.email. Built for Catholic individuals, families, organizations, and groups. They're private, secure, and of course, they're Catholic. And they're offering 2 months off on your first year for an annual subscription if you enter the coupon code Return to Tradition without spaces. That's the name of this channel, without spaces, at checkout. Is God trying to get our attention? That's been a recurring theme in a lot of online Catholic discourse the past year, with the solar eclipse and messages being allegedly delivered to various religious communities in America and in the Western world. We have another story like this that broke a few days ago, but outside of the more tabloid secular press, hasn't been talked about. So, this story I'm about to talk to you about is still under investigation by the local church authorities, so take it with a grain of salt. Pray for discernment if you're wanting to dive further into this. Don't always fall for stories about miracles and alleged apparitions and the like, because, unfortunately, there are bad people out there who want to try to sell you a pack of lies and are willing to use the church for it. So, with that having been said, we turn to a story coming out of Mexico with a story of a statue of the Virgin Mary with tears of blood coming down its face. Headline from The Mirror. Yes, I know, it's The Mirror, but we will go with this one. Virgin Mary statue crying tears of blood is being investigated by church officials. A statue of the Virgin Mary, as Our Lady of Guadalupe, has claimed to have cried tears of blood in Mexico with dark streaks pictured running down the cheeks, leading to an investigation by the Catholic Church. Now, this story has been also reported in Yahoo News, in MSN, the Daily Mail. Any secular news outlet you really can think of has reported on it. I just chose to go with this one, which the Mirror is not the best news source, but it's the same story being reported everywhere outside of Catholic circles. I haven't found a Catholic news site that's reporting this. If you can think of one, let me know in the comments if you know of a Catholic news source reporting it. Now, as it turns out, there have been a lot of these kind of things happening in Mexico the last few years, as I will show you here in a second. So just remember, careful discernment. Don't necessarily take this as an endorsement. This is something that's interesting that's going on. And if it's real, what is the purpose of it? What is the message that is trying to be sent to the faithful? Is it a message from Mexico, or is it a message for the faithful around the world? I'll leave you to decide that answer to that question after we get the details. So from the article, quote, a statue of the Virgin Mary, which has apparently begun crying tears of blood, is being investigated by church officials in Mexico. The statue shows Mary in her guise as Our Lady of Guadalupe, one of 5 visions of her said to have been revealed to a peasant called Juan Diego and his uncle Juan Bernardino in the 1500s. Its startled owners, a family in Morelia, in the state of Michoacan, contacted Catholic officials when it apparently started to shed dark red tears from its eyes on June 2nd. Photographs of the statue appear to show it with dark streaks running down her cheeks as if she had been crying blood. The sign is believed to be a divine message by believers of the original apparitions, although local church officials urge worshippers not to get carried away. It has led to many people, including the family where the incident has happened, to call it a miracle, with people flocking to see the statue. I felt a sensation that I haven't felt before, like a joy, but also a real sadness, because she is telling us what will happen only she knows. It is a miracle, and hopefully it is a miracle that is good for everyone, said neighbor Saul Anguiano, reported local media. The Archdiocese of Morelia said in a statement that it will carry out a detailed study into the case and is not so far commenting on whether or not it is a miracle. In response to the recent widespread attention of what has been claimed to have happened relating to an image of Our Lady of Guadalupe on Obraria, Morelia, where there are said to have been tears of blood, the Archdiocese of Morelia wants to make some points clear, it said. To begin with, it is necessary to emphasize the need to be cautious when discussing an issue as delicate as a supposed miracle. The Catholic Church has always acted prudently with such matters, avoiding dismissals or affirmations without a full investigation. The Archdiocese of Morelia is taking necessary measures to investigate the situation in a deep and exhaustive manner. Therefore, it is too early to issue a definitive position on the matter. End quote. So yes, the bishop is investigating, although I kind of wonder why. Why are they bothering? And that may sound cynical, but remember, Cardinal Fernandez issued a new document signed by Francis changing the norms on how these things are investigated. And those new norms say that neither the local bishop nor the Vatican will ever declare something to be worthy of belief. The best that they will do is say there's no danger to your faith here. That's it. They will never say worthy of belief, like Our Lady of Fatima, worthy of belief. They will never say that again, with the one caveat being that the Pope, if he so chooses under his own authority, to declare something worthy of belief. But that's it. So I kind of wonder why. Now, obviously, the answer to that is because if it's fake, they will be able to discern that. They are going to do things like test the blood from the tears to see what the blood type is, if they correspond to the typical blood type, which they can also do from normal tears, that sort of thing, to see if they are actually authentic and human, and if so human, what's the blood type. They can't necessarily tell if someone is putting blood from another source on the statue, but they would be able to tell if it corresponds to the typical blood type, which I believe is AB negative, which is the universal donor, the most rare version of the universal donor blood type out there. But this isn't the only time this has happened in Mexico. We have here another story from Mexico from not that long ago. It's from November 2023. And its headline, which comes from Yahoo News, shows what I'm talking about. Miracle Virgin Mary statue is weeping at Mexico church. Again, November 2023. This one is still under investigation as far as I know. Now, either God is using Mexico to get our attention with these frequent apparitions or miracles, or it's a message specifically for the people of Mexico, or there are people there with no fear of God trying to pull a fast one on the population. See, the problem is Mexico has a history of a lot of these kind of things happening that are fake. Yes, a lot of them have been faked there because there are very unscrupulous people willing to take advantage of pious people. That is a simple fact. We should always pray for the grace of discernment when reading about or studying in any way these kinds of apparitions or alleged miracles, especially in an age when the Vatican just wants to dismiss it all out of hand. This alleged miracle took place in Colima, Mexico, which, by the way, the U.S. government strongly advises Americans to not travel to for all the usual reasons the American government would tell citizens to avoid traveling to parts of Mexico. Now, the interesting thing about this story is that the eyes appear to change when the tears are flowing. Quote, the statue residing in a church in the town of El Canal, Colima, was recorded showing what looks like tears seeping out of the Virgin Mary's eyes. Hundreds have flocked to the church to witness the inexplicable miracle take place, the Sun reported. Videos capturing the phenomenon have circulated social media, showing small water droplets falling from the statue's eyes and cascading down her face. Some witnesses believe the Virgin Mary's tears are real, as the redness around her eyes indicates she has been crying. Similarly, when we cry and our eyes become red, the same thing happens to the image, Victor Ramos, a local resident, said, according to the outlet. So a couple of tears started flowing. This is the event, the phenomenon that is happening here in the church. Mr. Ramos also believes he may have an inkling as to why the statue has started to cry. We can associate it with the violence rates that are being experienced here in the state of Colima, also here in the community, he reportedly said. End quote. Like I said, the U.S. government is telling people, Catholics, or Americans in general, not to travel to certain parts of Mexico, and that is high on the list of places, because of all the reasons that he just hinted at and all the reasons you can freely figure out for yourself as to why you shouldn't really travel to certain parts of Mexico in this day and age. But if all this is real, why is it happening in Mexico? Is it because Mexico is still a largely Catholic nation? Is it because most of the other Catholic nations have apostatized functionally? Yes, there's a remnant in Ireland, there's a remnant in France, including a thriving and growing traditionalist movement. But Mexico still has a large number of Catholics, still large enough to be called a Catholic country, even though Protestant missionaries are going down there constantly to lure people out of the one faith into their false gospel. And the bishops there do nothing about this, by the way. Same story all throughout Central and South America, but still Catholic countries. Is that why those messages are there? Because there's still enough faithful there to listen? Or are these messages from Mexico? What do you think? Give me your best shot at this in the comments, please. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It certainly helps. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. And as always, pray for the Church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.